When a modern person looks at the night sky, all they see is chaos. Billions of thermonuclear reactors scattered across the abyss of space, separated by thousands of light years. But when someone gazed at that same sky 3,000 years ago, they didn't see chaos at all. They saw a mirror. They saw a story, a navigation map, and most importantly, destiny. Today, we're taking apart one of humanity's most enduring myths. We're not here to talk about what your horoscope promises you tomorrow. We're here to uncover how an ancient time measurement system evolved into a religion, why your zodiac sign is astronomically incorrect, and how Babylonian priests cast a coordinate grid over the sky that still shapes our thinking to this day. This is the story of humanity's attempt to tame time. Welcome to StarMind. Where did the idea of dividing the sky into exactly 12 sectors come from? Why not 10, matching our decimal system? Or 7, the number of visible planets? The answer lies deep in the past, in the cradle of civilization, ancient Mesopotamia, Sumer, and Babylon. In the 5th century BCE, Babylonian astronomers made a foundational observation. They noticed that the Sun, the Moon, and the 5 known planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, did not wander randomly across the sky. They always followed the same narrow corridor across the celestial sphere. Today, we call this corridor the ecliptic, the plane of Earth's orbit projected onto the sky. Imagine a gigantic highway encircling Earth. From our viewpoint, this is the route taken by all the traffic of the solar system. The Babylonians, brilliant mathematicians that they were, used a base 60 numeral system. That's why we have 60 minutes in an hour and 360 degrees in a circle. They divided the celestial highway of the ecliptic into a perfect 360-degree circle. And to track the sun's movement throughout the year more conveniently, they split this circle into 12 equal sectors of 30 degrees each. Why 12? Because the moon completes roughly 12 full cycles around Earth in one solar year. The zodiac, in its original sense, wasn't a mystical oracle. It was the first precise celestial calendar. Each sector received the name of the constellation occupying it at that time: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on. Thus was born the Zodiac, from the Greek Zodiacus, kyklos, meaning circle of animals. Though it's worth noting that Libra is the only sign that isn't a living being, hinting at later Greek and Roman modifications of the system. But the system we use today in Western culture was canonized much later. The key figure was Claudius Ptolemy, an Alexandrian astronomer of the 2nd century CE. In his work Tetrabiblos, he made a decision that permanently separated astrology from actual astronomy. Ptolemy anchored the beginning of the zodiac not to the stars, but to the equinoxes. The starting point, 0 degrees Aries, was fixed at the moment of the spring equinox. This created what we now call the tropical zodiac. And here is the trap. The tropical zodiac is tied to Earth's seasons, not to the real constellations in the sky. For Ptolemy, who believed Earth was the motionless center of the universe, it made sense. He built a mathematical model that worked beautifully for its time. But he did not account for, or could not fully know, one crucial mechanism of our planet that unravels the entire framework. Earth is not a perfectly stable spinning top. It rotates, yes, but its axis slowly traces a cone through space. This process is called axial precession. Imagine a child's top beginning to slow down. Its tip starts wobbling in circles. Earth does the same under the gravitational pull of the Sun and the Moon. One full wobble takes about 25,800 years. This is the so-called Platonic year. What does this mean in practice? It means the spring equinox point, which Ptolemy fixed in Aries, is constantly drifting. It slides backward along the zodiac at about 1 degree every 72 years. In the 2 millennia since Ptolemy's time, the sky has shifted by roughly 24 degrees, nearly an entire zodiac sign. Here's the harsh astronomical truth. When you say, "I'm in Aries" because you were born in late March, the sun at that moment is actually in Pisces. If you think you're a Leo, the sun is really passing through Cancer. And there's more. Real constellations have different sizes. The sun spends over 40 days in the vast constellation of Virgo, yet only about a week in the narrow constellation of Scorpius. But the astrological calendar ignores all of this, slicing the sky into neat, uniform 30-degree sections that do not exist in nature. And here is where Ophiuchus enters the stage. The ecliptic actually crosses 13 constellations, not 12. The sun passes through Ophiuchus from November 30th to December 17th. But the Babylonians, striving for numerical harmony, simply excluded it to preserve the elegant 12 months, 12 signs structure. If the system is astronomically incorrect, why has it survived, even flourished in the age of quantum physics and artificial intelligence? The answer lies not in the stars, but in the architecture of the human mind. Human consciousness is a pattern recognition machine. This phenomenon is called Pareidolia. We see faces on Mars, figures in clouds, and bears in clusters of stars. Babylonian wired us to extract order from chaos as a survival mechanism. The Zodiac became the first global attempt at psychological classification. Before psychology existed, before personality tests, humanity used celestial archetypes to make sense of the other. It was an early attempt to categorize the complexity of human character. The Barnum Effect explains why we believe zodiac descriptions. Give a person a vague, flattering, universal personality profile, and they'll automatically identify with it. Ancient texts were crafted exactly this way, balancing metaphor with universality. But there's also a deeper layer. The zodiac is a monument to ethnocentrism, the belief that the universe is not indifferent to us, that massive spheres of burning gas and thermonuclear chaos somehow influence our work promotion or our relationship issues. It's a comforting illusion in the face of a cold, indifferent cosmos. So where did zodiac signs come from? They were born from the need to know when to plant crops. They grew out of our fear of the future, and they endured because we love symmetry, structure, and order. Scientifically, your zodiac sign is a fiction, a shadow of a sky that no longer exists, a projection of Babylonian mathematics onto Greek philosophy. But culturally, it is a magnificent monument to human observation, a reminder of a time when the sky was the only television, the only clock, and the only map. Here at StarMind, we urge you to look at the stars not as arbiters of fate, but as objects of investigation. The real universe, with its black holes, quasars, and precessing axes, is far more fascinating, complex, and awe-inspiring than any horoscope written in a newspaper office. Look up, explore, and remember, we write our own destiny, even if we do it under the cold light of distant, indifferent stars.